All right, let's call March 7th edition of the Amelia Village Council to order at 7:02 p.m. And ask for a roll call, please.
Derek?
Here.
Todd?
Here.
Renee?
Here.
Bob?
Jay.
Chuck? Tim? Mayor?
Present. Let's all stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Let the record show that council has received their packets in advance of tonight's meeting, has had an opportunity to review the materials enclosed. First item on the agenda is the approval of the previous meeting minutes. I always stumble on that. Previous minutes were from the meeting on February 22nd, 2011. At this time, I entertain a motion from council.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
I'll second Julie.
Any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Derek?
Yay.
Todd?
Yay.
Renee?
Yay.
Bob?
Yay.
Okay, minutes from February 22, 2011 approved. Next item on the agenda this evening is the mayor's report. Before I move into that, I want to thank those people who are here in the audience tonight and those who may be viewing this meeting on the Amelia Village website at www.ameliavillage.com, but you already know that if you're watching it. Or if you're not watching it on the web and you're watching it on Claremont County Communications, visit us at www.ameliavillage.com to view our meetings there. We appreciate you stopping by. Tonight's report for Tuesday, March 7, 2011. Under the heading of meetings, I've been involved in several meetings and have had correspondence with many on behalf of Amelia Village since the last meeting, including but not limited to the following: Police Chief Suker, representatives from Union Township Fire Department, Fiscal Officer Bill Gilpin, Village Solicitor Laura Abrams, Pat Madel from CDS Engineering, Vice Mayor Bob Pollock, village staff and police personnel, as well as village residents. Under the heading of zoning, we continue to struggle to stay on top of zoning issues within the village. With the current staffing levels and workload, it is all we can do to keep up with responding to the residents' complaints and questions. We're basically putting out fires, and there's no opportunity to engage in proactive enforcement. Committee ideas. At a previous meeting, there was a discussion from council regarding two possible committees: a Main Street Business Development Committee and a Main Street Restoration Committee. Julie is waiting for verbiage from council before she places it on the website. I'm not sure if anything has been developed on that yet or not. Beautiful. Under the heading of search for new fiscal officer, the ad for the fiscal officer position was placed on careerbuilder.com on February 24th and will run through March 26th. To date, we've received 5 resumes and anticipate beginning the interview process the week of March 14th. I think that number's increased now. Is it 7?
7.
Okay. Under the heading of Morse House, the ad for bids was placed in the Cincinnati Enquirer starting February 28th and will run for 5 consecutive Mondays, with the last to run on March the 28th. Under the heading of Clean and Green, the 2011 Clean and Green trash pickup event will be held on April 16th from 9 to noon. Volunteers who want to pick up trash in designated areas throughout the village can contact Julie Wortman at 718-9135 or visit www.claremont2020.org. Last year's efforts resulted in 40 volunteers picking up 25 bags of trash and collecting 5 old tires and various other items. There will be free food, drinks, and T-shirts for all volunteers. Under the heading of Batavia Annexation, in council packets this evening is a copy of an article that appeared in the Community Journal on February 23rd. This article speaks of the village of Batavia's efforts to increase revenue through annexation. I've highlighted 2 specific areas in this article. Number 1, although the village is not in financial emergency or on the verge of bankruptcy, Nichols said the general fund cannot support the village's infrastructure needs. In my opinion, the above quote certainly applies to the fiscal status of Amelia Village. While Amelia Village has no infrastructure such as utilities and no revenue stream developed from them, I couldn't agree more with the spirit of this quote. Number two, Mr. Nichols says, I'm very concerned as I look at the village's finances that we'll be able to sustain basic services at all. In my opinion, this quote also applies to the future fiscal health of Amelia Village. While we are able to provide basic services, providing services at the expectation of our residents is another matter. With revenues continuing to decrease, the probable loss of the local government fund, combining with the residential growth that Amelia Village is experiencing, and the lack of revenue generating commercial economic development, I have growing concerns for the future fiscal health of Amelia Village. At this time, I would like to urge the Finance Committee and Village Council to make it job one to discover new ways to either A, create new revenues, or B, find more areas where cuts can be made. For the record, it is my opinion that further cuts in staffing in Amelia Village in any department would seriously compromise the level of services being delivered to Amelia residents. The next item I have is the proverbial sinkhole is the header. And this is just a little food for thought for council. On a recent routine visit in Amelia, an employee of the Claremont County Stormwater Department came upon these findings and made the following notifications. And I just have some quotes here. There are sinkholes and clear indications of erosion. Another quote, perhaps there's a pipe where I have the dashed line and the structures are simply underwater and not visible. But if not then, this strikes me as a pretty serious erosion problem. The volume and pressure of water was such that I think it's worth looking at. Let me explain this a little further. For the last 2 years, I've been painting the scenario of a costly sinkhole in Amelia Village and the lack of the village's preparedness from a financial standpoint to be prepared for such an issue. This erosion issue is being researched by our village engineering firm. We're not clear yet of the extent of this issue. However, this erosion issue, is on Main Street and demonstrates the reality and potential that the proverbial sinkhole that I've been speaking of is real. I will keep council informed as details are available. What this is probably last year we had our first inquiry from the property owner indicating that he wanted to change a pipe off of a retention area to another size pipe. We were standing out here in the lobby and basically I let him know that what he needed to do was contact an engineering service, provide a set of plans with what he wanted to do so that our engineering service could do the work to see if it was, how it was going to affect water flow, because these pipes are connected to Main Street and they actually run under Main Street. The gentleman wasn't happy about the idea of spending any money on an engineer to do this. And in fact, I'm not sure if he ever did. Did we ever receive any plans, do you know?
I'm pretty sure
Pat's been working with it?
did look at plans at that time.
I don't think any action's been taken.
Not that I'm aware of.
And basically, it is 25 feet off of Main Street is where this erosion problem is. And it's connected to the pipes underneath, like go underneath the road. So we have some pictures. I don't think everybody has this today. Basically, I just want to let everyone know, here's, you can pass that around and look at that. It doesn't really show much. We have some, if you'd like to see actual pictures, you can stop in and see Julie. She's got some actual pictures of the area. It just basically, I'll continue to keep you posted as things progress, as we find out more. But it's just, yeah.
That's the retention, is that the pond where the Palmer?
Yes, Palmer's
Yes.
Pond.
Yes. I'll keep you posted as the engineering service continues to research this.
That's where their spill went.
But it's just the kind of thing that I have concerns about for the future. I just want to make council aware of that.
Well, my concern about that is that all this concrete is completely just gone to
That's right.
heck of a handbag, big chunks of concrete piled on top of one another. So when the pond overflows, which is quite frequent when we have a rain, of course, you never see any water going out of there. So my thinking is that is eating away underneath the highway, like making a big tunnel. And the longer it goes, the bigger the tunnel's going to get. And maybe all of a sudden, someday, that road will just go right there because there's nothing under it. And a lot of weight goes up and down the highway, and if that's chewing away to all the subtrash strata and everything that's under there, pretty soon it would be hold it up.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you can force anybody to do something about that or not.
Well, we're looking into it now. Engineering Services looking into it, and then we'll see what we can do to make a determination on it.
Well, that's what I mean. They can look into it and recommend it, but the force part, what I was wondering how you could go about doing something like that.
Forcing somebody to do something?
Yeah,
Well-
under those circumstances that it affects a state highway.
Absolutely. Absolutely, but we have to make a determination
What-
first.
what
on
to do,
the problem-
right.
What the problem is.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what's in process right now. And I've had a telephone conversation with Pat Nadel this afternoon, and
Yeah, I've seen it.
I'd like to have him in an upcoming meeting to talk about this and some other engineering issues that I think are important for council to be kept in the loop on. So this is just going to be an ongoing thing. Keep you posted at. If we make a determination, if I receive a determination at any point that this is a serious erosion issue and a public safety issue, and there's a battle over who has to pay for what, I would probably first contact the village solicitor, but in the interest of public safety, we would have to, and my initial thought is we fix it and fight over it later so that nobody's injured or killed. So that's my initial thought. I haven't spoken to the attorney about that, but
Is the state, are they aware of it?
the county's aware of it.
Yeah, it's a
But
state, but it's a state highway.
It's a state highway, but the damage is below the road. And below, what is it, below 6 inches below below the
The
pavement?
standard there was you.
Yeah. Everything below the road, anything that's gonna cost a lot of money is gonna be the municipality's responsibility. So,
It sounds like we need to listen and see what the engineering firm
Yeah.
comes back. I mean, there's so many scenarios with this.
I mean, it may not wind up being as big a problem as it has the potential to be.
Yeah.
But even since we had a lot of rain over the weekend, there's a spot right near the pond that is, you can tell, has gone, the erosion has gotten more substantial just since this. Of course, we had a really bad rain.
And we're kind of lucky. The pond's not a real deep pond. So
Right.
that's safe.
Not anymore.
It's, I mean, you can get back to if anybody's familiar with the sinkhole at 32 in Pizza Hut.
Oh, yeah.
And that went on for a year, and
Yeah.
that thing got way out of hand.
Yeah.
Finally, they fixed it.
Yeah.
But that thing was like 32 feet deep.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah, that's
It was
not like that.
so.
So anyway, I just wanted to make sure council knew that is happening. We're looking into it. We're on top of it to the point that we can be now, and there'll be more information coming. As I get information, I'll make sure council gets it. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions or have any discussion regarding anything in my report. Okay, no questions regarding the mayor's report. Next item is the fiscal officer's report. I'll read that on his behalf. We have no bills to approve this time. Reading this on behalf of fiscal officer Bill Gilpin, dated February 7, 2011. The permanent appropriations ordinance needs to be approved this evening by emergency. The appropriations must be certified to the county auditor's office by the end of March. The finance committee met and tweaked the figures slightly from the temporary appropriations that are currently in place. The appropriations will most likely need to be looked at again after the state budget is approved. I've been told by our insurance broker that the HRA checking account should remain active for 15 months after the after the determination, I'm sorry, let me back up. I've been told by our insurance broker that the HRA checking account should remain active for 15 months after the termination of the coverage in order to be available for claims payments. There's approximately $3,000 in the account, which leaves open the possibility of having to deposit additional monies into the account if there are any substantial claims presented for payment. The Finance Committee discussed the village's liability insurance coverage that renews on May 1st. After discussion, it is the recommendation of the committee that the village renew the Ohio plan with Highland Group that we currently have coverage with. This will enable the police department to take advantage of the Lexapol program. Respectfully submitted, Bill Gilpin. Are there any questions, or do you have anything to add on that, Derek? Having been involved in the recommendation there?
Just the Ohio plan seems to have worked out really well for us. And we kind of did research, and everybody's really liking the Ohio plan. And I think that one of the added benefits with the Lexapol, I think it is, is really going to benefit us in the future, especially for the police department. So that's why we're recommending we stay with that. Yeah.
Is it okay with council if we, if I direct the solicitor to draw up the appropriate legislation regarding the ordinances regarding the Ohio plan and Highland Group? Do I need to do that by motion, Laura?
Yeah, I guess since they haven't technically approved it, or we can, or you could just draft it and they could approve the ordinance as it doesn't. You can do it either way.
See, it's March 1st. It's a May 1. So we could potentially do 3 readings. Very
Not with
close.
an effective date.
Not with that effective date.
No.
Okay. So this time I entertain a motion from council regarding the. Or you just want to draft it?
At your pleasure. Doesn't matter.
This time I entertain a motion from council regarding the village's insurance liability coverage.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Derek,
Yay.
Todd,
Yay.
Renee,
Yay.
Bob,
Yay.
You need that exact language from his financial report. All right. All right, I also have from Fiscal Officer Gilpin, Mayor's Court account report, which is in your packet this evening. Shows the year-to-date revenues, February revenues, and 2010 expected. Well, that's an old column there. For your review. Looks as though the fiscal officer is also included in the package of Fund 2021 balance information. It's just looks like some information for everyone. Receipts, transfers, expenses, and ending fund balance. If anybody has any questions on the information provided by Bill, you can contact him by way of email or shoot me an email and I'll send it on your behalf or whatever you'd like to do. Next item, go ahead.
We only got this ordinance for appropriation.
We have it tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we? I mean, there it is.
Is it in our packets tonight? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well.
He wrote the report before he left town.
Okay.
So, is that what your question is?
No, because you were having the solicitor draw it up, it's already drawn up.
No, I was asking her to draw up an ordinance for the renewal of the insurance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. No problem.
Stay with us, come back.
Looks as though the fiscal officer also put in the packet tonight some other financial information for council to peruse. Next item on the agenda this evening is an executive section. executive session, not section. It's actually two executive sessions pursuant to revised code 121.22G to consider the discipline of a public employee, and the second to consider the purchase of property for public purposes. At this time, I want to entertain a motion from council to move to an executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion and/or questions? Roll call, please.
Derek,
Yay.
Todd,
Yay.
Renee,
Yay.
Bob.
Okay.
All right, we'll adjourn to executive session at 7:24 p.m. Ask the village solicitor to join us, and we'll be back as fast as we can. All right, welcome back. This time, I'll entertain a motion from council to return from executive session at 7:42 p.m.
I'll make a motion we return.
I'll second.
Discussion or questions? Roll call.
Derek,
Yay.
Todd,
Yay.
Renee,
Yay.
Bob.
Yay.
All right, we're back. Next item on the agenda this evening, under the heading of legislation, we have 4 pieces of legislation. I believe they were all to be voted as emergencies this evening. Because we don't have the appropriate number of council members here tonight, we will not make these votes tonight, but what I will ask, Julie, if you will contact council members by phone, see if we can schedule a special meeting for sometime next week, the week of the 14th through the 18th. The meeting needs to be prior to the 18th. 14th through 17th, I guess.
Okay.
And check availability. When you come up with the common denominator, let me know, and we'll get a meeting, special meeting scheduled and promoted as such.
Remember that we have recreation on the 14th,
Okay.
since everybody's out of practice with that.
Yeah. Good reminder.
So now we're down to 30 days.
And I didn't know if you want to, I'm open all those days, so I
Okay.
can go ahead and
So
tell you.
am I.
Okay, great.
Me too.
There's 3 of us, and
I'm busy on the 14th.
he's only busy on the 14th.
You have any
Well-
other days, Derek?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if we had the meeting, well, what are we looking at legislation-wise?
We could have it before.
I was gonna say if you had, so if you had, well, even if we had to postpone the recreation meeting until 7:15 or 7:20.
Yeah.
Okay, so if 14th is the only date, if that winds up being the only date we can do, we'll do the 14th
At 7.
at 7, yeah. So we won't take that off the plate because
We got new people
we
showing
got
up.
new people coming, we don't want them.
Do you want to
We
try
better-
to make it for the 14th?
No, I'm just saying, if
Anybody make it at 6?
we can do it another night, it'd probably be preferable,
Okay.
but if in the end, 14th is the only date you can get
You make
everybody,
six?
then do the 14th and we'll make it work.
Bob, can you make 6 instead of 7?
Anytime.
I don't
You
know.
mean 6 at night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim might not.
Tim may work for Tim.
Yeah, he might be pushing it a little.
Check and see if we can do the 14th at 6 and the 7 the rest of the nights. All right. So that being said, we'll open the floor for public input. I understand that we have a young man here this evening who's working on his last merit badge.
Yeah.
And this is your last merit badge before Eagle Scout?
Yes.
Great, congratulations. Come up and tell us about yourself.
Come on, congratulations.
Come before the firing squad.
Sorry.
Come on up.
I have to tell you.
Just introduce yourself and tell us what troop you're with and where you're going.
I'm with Troop 443. We meet Wednesdays right down at Amelia United Methodist Church. I've been in the troop for about 7 years, going on 8.
Mm-hmm. This is your last merit badge before Eagle?
Yes.
Great.
This is my
Great.
very last merit badge.
So it's a lot of work.
Mhm.
So do you have any questions for council?
Not at this moment.
Council have any questions or inquiries?
What was one of your major badges that you earned?
Major badges. That would have to be probably personal management that I
Really?
just finished recently. A lot about finances and
Ooh, that's
Good.
a good start.
I had to do a 3-month budget of my expenses, what I planned on spending, and what I actually spent,
Good.
and make sure I have enough money for all that.
Well, we appreciate you being here, for being a part of the Boy Scouts, and I'm proud of you for your accomplishments. And wish
I
you
belonged to
good
443,
Yeah?
My son belongs to Fort.
and that was so long ago, the building's not there anymore.
My son belonged there too. Just like to say, I'm very proud. I don't know how many people know. There's a whole host of United States presidents that are Eagle Scouts, so it's a very elite group of people.
Actually, I have a question for you. Are you related to John Hart?
The Declaration of Independence, John Hart, or? Well, you asked the question. I mean, I actually am, so I thought I would.
He's one of my friends at school. He's in a different troop.
Him I don't know. I didn't know either one, but.
Now you know he's related to the John Hart of the
There you go.
Declaration.
Were you an Eagle Scout?
No, I wasn't. I feel bad.
No, never made it first class.
Was it really 442 when you were in it, or was it
443.
342?
No, nah, it was 443. They don't change the date because it gets old.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, congratulations. We're proud
Yeah,
of you.
congratulations.
When do you get your, once you turn in your stuff from this point on, when do you actually become the?
Well, after this, I need to have a Scoutmaster conference and a board of review with a bunch of adult leaders and some leaders from council, and we'll sit down, talk about me becoming an Eagle. And I'm not quite sure what exactly goes on. But
You'll find out.
yep, and hopefully I get it in before I meet team, so,
Good
which
deal.
is in April.
You'll make it.
Go
before
get it.
April.
Good luck.
Yep.
Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck.
All right. Again, we'll go ahead and reopen the floor for public input. Anyone here this evening would like to address council? Now's the time to do it.
Should I come up here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Most of you know me, and I'm Tom
Yes,
Burke.
exercise.
We want to
There you
see
go.
your wonderful face.
Thank you. Yeah, there you go. Now, one of the concerns I have is the Grove Park is becoming a hangout for undesirables, which you may or may not know. As was up there tonight, as I walked by the park, and one van comes speeding out. I guess they were trying to impress me by spinning rocks all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And I talked to neighbors. There's one lady in particular with small children who was talking to me and my brother the other night, saying how she won't even have anything to do with letting her kids go up there anymore because of the. I see them, they're usually older kids. They're not younger kids. They're probably teenagers. And I don't know. Is there something that says you have to live in Amelia in order to avail yourself of that park, or is it just public?
I don't think so. It's a public park. Yeah.
Well, some places public's considered the town that it's in rather than state or. Well, that's one concern I have. Another concern I have, when you're talking about trying to bring businesses in that in, and I mean this as constructive criticism, the main street is a dump as far as the sidewalks and everything. If they ever thought of having like a sweep Amelia clean day, I'd be more than happy to come with my brooms and blower and everything. In other words, it's just rocks from one end to the other. And a lot of it is citizens that just don't keep their driveways clean. I always mention the same thing. The Christian bus company up there, every time their buses go in and out, because they don't have a paved driveway, it just drags it out. And every place else, there's water dripping out, there's stones from people's yard. There's a business up there, the house that burned down.
Yes.
Evidently, someone's trying to start a business next to it. I don't know what it is. It was an old filling station, I believe, because they've done some work on the building. And like that area, it's just constant, rocks coming out. All the way up, probably all the way up to Cleveland Lane. That's the end of the
That's the end of
city
the
right
road,
there.
yeah.
You don't notice that much this way. In other words, past the CVS and that. You don't notice much on either side. But this whole area is just loaded with cigarette butts and, it's not anything big. You'll find old mirrors, junk. Of course, I realize a lot of it's thrown out by passerbyers that don't even live, in Amelia. That's just a couple of concerns I've got.
Are you interested, we just wrote that up tonight about our committee for beautification to act as liaisons with the residents and businesses Are you interested in joining that committee and being a part of that?
I don't know, it's hard to say, because me and my brother go away so much, that I might not be here at the time, and I wouldn't want to, let you know.
Sure,
that.
sure.
But as far as volunteering to clean up,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're gonna start looking
Well, yeah.
at with this new committee that we're trying to develop. To
'Cause I'm
get
glad to see the new
concerned
bakery
residents,
now.
right, to kind of get together, work with other residents, work with the businesses, and try and form different volunteer groups to try and help out with that, so.
I'm going down to the bakery and ask for me and Bob if they could have any yeast donuts.
Is Main Street on the list for that cleanup, Jolie?
For the cleaning green?
Yeah, we
Yes.
kind of,
Well, it needs
So-
shovels to
Well,
go
yeah,
down
I
the
mean, I know it's
sidewalks
more
and-
extensive than,
and
No.
than
clean up
just.
the
They won't
grass.
have-
These
growing
are
up
steel
there.
brooms.
they won't
Yeah.
clean
Steel
the
bristles.
street because we don't want people to be in the
So
street.
it can't be off the
No,
sidewalk.
no, not the street,
Okay.
the site.
I think
where
we're
it's
talking about
sidewalk.
the gutters.
No, just the sidewalks, it's the sidewalks
Yeah.
mainly.
Yeah,
The gutters got cleaned up when they paved the road, most of the places.
the whole village is,
Okay.
More volunteers we get for cleaning green, the better.
yep.
Because like when
I
they
did
do,
the first
when they
effort.
do the cleaning up, does the city provide the vehicle to take the stuff away, right?
And on your concerns about Grove Park, well, 'tis the season. You're gonna have occasional nice days where all of a sudden you'll have an onslaught of 60 kids there. And it seems to be worse when it's cold and then you have a really nice day.
Oh, yeah.
Because they come out in droves. But the same thing always applies. That's not the first time I've heard the complaint that people won't take their small children there.
Because you don't see that many, I
Yeah,
see.
you don't.
And they're usually there, I'm not alone letting them go by themselves.
Right, right. I hear often that at Grove Park that people won't take their small children there because of the language and the behavior of the bigger kids who are playing basketball and utilizing the other parts of the park. Unfortunately, I'm not sure exactly how to police that, other than to have people call the police when they have any problems.
Okay.
Um,
Because most of the time, what we're talking about is ones just hanging out, they're not playing basketball, they just kind of gather in a group
Yeah.
and some old beat up cars and,
mhm.
and because you got the younger kids with the playground equipment, and then you've got like the ones that like to do their skateboards and their
Mhm.
whatever on the, whatever you call it, the skateboard part of the thing.
Yeah.
But these are usually older kids, I mean, they'll sit there and they litter, they throw stuff all over.
Yeah, they.
They'll be sitting at that one picnic table.
Sitting at the
out in
shelter.
corner. Well,
Right, right. And so I guess, I don't know if there's I don't know if you can really, it's not illegal to hang out there. It's a park, but,
well, it says till dark, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask the chief, can I ask chief?
Please do.
Is people supposed to park there overnight?
No.
Because there had been, I don't know, maybe it was a snow emergency or something.
Yeah, during
There
snow
was some
emergency.
old white car, and then the semi-truck parked there.
Yeah, that shouldn't be, unless they're temporarily moved because of snow emergency, we've all allowed.
In other words, there was a big
Yeah.
18-wheeler sitting in
Yeah.
the parking
Yeah.
lot. That's probably not good for it.
Yeah, I drive past that park every night, and
This was only once I've seen that in there. Maybe that was a
it might have
person.
been a special circumstance or
You know,
something.
you were having trouble with somebody was complaining about somebody had the truck in their, at their house.
Yes, yes. But I drive by the park every day, multiple times, and in the evening, if I ever drive by it, and if there's a car sitting in there, or I see activity in the park, I always call dispatch and just say, park's closed, there's, people in the park.
Yeah, I know the chief said if you see a car in there and it's dark, to give them a call.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have.
We appreciate you looking out.
Yeah, I usually go by there once or twice a day.
Yeah.
All
We
right,
really
thanks.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public input this evening?
I'd also like to thank Julie there for getting the sewer by our house cleaned out. The one that the builder had the outhouse over and just full of paper and junk and stones.
Ah.
Whatever that outfit is, they are the dirtiest builders
The,
in
the,
town.
the,
I
the
mean,
builder itself,
Yeah, I had talked to, first I talked to Claremont County,
Bob Ryan.
thinking it had something to do with runoff,
Right, right.
but no,
It
they
was
said
just
they
filled with
turned it
junk.
over to you.
It was just filled with junk. The sewer was
Well, they had the outhouse set
on top
on
of
that steel part, and when the it wasn't Portland, whatever the company is that did it, it wasn't Rumpke or that. The guy would clean the outhouse with a hose, they got water with them, and it would run in the sewer. which I don't think is a good idea. But any of the junk that the builders and that, the carpenters and that would throw their cigarette cartons, it all just ended up in the bottom. And then they have these mesh bags full of stones to keep debris out of the thing, but they were all beat up by the snow plows going through there, so the rocks were just dumping into the sewer, and they're no good if you.
Right.
They cover them up supposedly to keep where they're building the house from out there.
Right.
There's no houses being built in front of my house.
Right.
So I see the Amelia person just set them up in the grass where they're out of the way.
And cleaned it, did we clean it out, or did
Ryan said
Ryan
so.
and since we're somebody?
Yeah, I just noticed it the other day, it wasn't done, and all of a sudden, it was cleaned out, cleaner than the rest of them now. Not that any water ever backs up, that neighborhood doesn't seem to have
A drainage issue.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. Any other public input? We move to council input. Any council member have anything they'd like to share?
Yeah, I'd like for the, so I can find it, oh, the association dues be paid to mayor's association,
Oh, for the mayor, Claremont County Mayor's Association? Yes.
if you don't mind.
Need a motion to that effect?
I'll give that, pass that down to Julie, and she, I think it's got the address
All right.
where it's supposed to go.
Here, just let me have that. I don't think we need a motion, I'll just approve it. I think it's $25.
Thank you very much. Private club.
Any other council input? So we will adjourn to our next meeting on March 21st, our next scheduled meeting. But in the meantime, Julie Wortman will contact council members regarding scheduling of a special meeting for the week of the 14th through the 17th. With that in mind, I would ask for a motion to adjourn at 7:57
I
p.m.
make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Gary. I didn't even let the word jump out of his mouth. I saw his lips.
He's on my lips, man.
Thank you, guys.